I sat on the empty hover sled and waited. It didn't make a great chair. Smooth enough, but no backrest, and slightly too low for my long-legged human preferences. I considered asking Mur to change the hover height since he was sitting next to the controls, but decided it wasn't worth it. We'd probably get to start walking again soon. Probably. Mur stood up on stiff tentacles, trying to see past the people in line ahead of us.
"I think someone's coming," he said.
I leaned to peer around a hovercycle and several pedestrians. Are they still called pedestrians if they don't use feet? Tentacle-estrians? Anyways, they were on the ground. The guarded gate at the front of the line was still mostly closed, but it had just opened enough for a new strong-arm to squeeze out and talk to the guards. The rest of the grumpy traffic jam was catching on. People straightened up and edged forward, everyone hoping that whatever mess had blocked the road was now cleared away. No such luck. The tentacular messenger glanced out at the long line of impatient people waiting to get into the spaceport, grimaced, then ducked back through the door and closed it. "Ah, man," I said, while people around us grumbled. Mur slapped a tentacle on the sled.
"We are going to be late."
"At least we got the delivery done," I said.
"Yes, that's great, but the next one is on a strict timeline."
Mur wove his tentacles together in an irritated pattern.
"I'd say we should walk around to the other entrance, but that would take forever too."
"I wonder if there's any guess about when they'll open up," I said. "Looks like that person is going to ask." I pointed at a small strong-arm patterned in deep greens, who was tentacle walking up to the guards. We both quietened to listen over the ambient grumbling and city noise. Luckily, the guard who replied spoke in a loud enough voice for everyone nearby to hear. Probably so she didn't have to repeat herself.
"They estimate 1 hour. Medical emergencies only through this gate. The other gate is open with no waiting."
"An hour?" I said. "Can't they just shovel everything to the side and let people through one at a time? What the heck did they spill?" The earlier announcement had been remarkably vague. Mur looked off to the side as if he could see the entire route to the other entrance.
"It could take just as long to go around. The roads here are dense. Can't believe this. I better call the captain."
He opened up the storage compartment near the controls and got out a communicator. "Hang on, we're moving up a little," I said, as several people ahead of us bailed out and took a side street. When the hovercycle zoomed away with an unnecessary engine rev, I scooted us forward with my 2 feet. No point in standing up properly when it was such a short distance. We stopped again behind several strong arms and a different sled, this one stacked with heavy machine parts.
"Delightful," Mur said. 0% improvement. Now we have a better view of the closed door. Too bad we don't have a plausible medical emergency."
Yeah, I suppose it would be suspicious if somebody's internal organs were suddenly in extreme pain right now. I eyed the guards, with their tentacles and lack of bones. "Do you think they even know how human internal organs work?"
"I think they'd be reluctant to take your word for it,"
Mur said, activating the communicator.
"Hi, Kavli. Is the captain around? I have bad news about our timing."
More people jostled around in line. Somebody bumped the controls of the sled in front of us, which led to a giant gear shaft or whatever, falling off and embedding itself in the pavement, much to the owner's dismay. It didn't hit anybody, though. That was good. Could have been a medical emergency right there, I thought, but not a pleasant one. I pulled my feet up onto the sled in case anything else felt like tumbling off. The owners got the sled stabilized and fussed about how to get the thing back on board. One made a phone call on their own, while another tried to angle the sled's lifting attachment to reach it. Somebody else showed up from further back in the line, carrying a prying tool to work it free from the pavement. I didn't have anything useful to contribute to that any more than I did to our own problem. I leaned back with a sigh, trying to think of any solutions. Mur finished the call.
"The captain's going to check the space lanes and call me back. They might have to leave without us and come back later, but no one is really excited about that."
"I'll say," I agreed. Mur flopped down into a pile of tentacles, clutching the communicator.
"Those people are going to sprain something,"
he said with a gesture, towards the folks trying to pry the gear out of the ground. At least then they might be let through, I said, though that might not count as an emergency. I started to lift my arms for a nice, back-cracking stretch, then stopped. I had an idea. It was a stupid idea, but it might be enough to keep us from being left behind on an alien planet. Hold that thought, I told Moore, standing up carefully.
"What are you going to do?"
he asked with some suspicion. I told him, possibly sprain something. Then I walked up to the people struggling with the gear and offered to help. I made a good show of it, hoping that I wasn't about to make them feel very guilty or make myself look like a colossal idiot. I struck a lifting posture with my hands positioned just so, then strained skyward, giving it a bit of a twist. Multiple joints cracked audibly. It even hurt a little where I turned one wrist too far, which just made the acting easier when I fell down and let out a string of swear words. Gasps of alarm surrounded me. Mur was on top of it, though. He jumped down and yelled about how the human had broken its fragile human bones and needed medical attention right away. He'd seen this happen before. It was urgent. I kept my eyes shut and my face screwed up in what hopefully looked like convincing pain. I tried not to be embarrassed when somebody used that lifting scoop on me, hauling me up onto my own hover sled while Mur gave directions and somebody lifted my feet. I just hissed and winced and swore louder. Then, lo and behold, we were moving to the front of the line with the door open for us, and the guards only looked a little skeptical when I snuck a peek. Then we were through. I opted for silent wincing now. Mur towed the sled down the centre of the street, which did in fact have enough open space to walk down. It didn't make eye contact with any of the many officials who were busy gathering the rainbowy whatevers that were scattered everywhere. I opened my eyes a little further to see that these were seashells of some kind. A memory pinged to remind me that local currency was based on particularly noteworthy shells. Oh, it was money spilled everywhere, and they didn't want people to take it. What an annoying but understandable reason for keeping the gate closed, I thought, as the scene slipped by me. Soon we were passing another set of guards at the other end, and Mo was explaining that he was taking the poor broken human to the medical bay on our ship, which was set up for such things. No arguments there. They gave us unnecessary directions and waved us on our way. Mo hurried forward, waiting until we were around a corner where pedestrians ignored us before he stopped walking.
"So, how much are you actually hurt?"
I lifted my head and smiled. Not at all. Glad that worked. He looked more than a little exasperated.
"Me too. How did you manage to break your bones without actually breaking them?"
I sat up. The joints just make noise sometimes. Something about gas build-up. My elbows do it the most. I stretched an arm, but it was comfortably quiet now.
"That is an incredibly strange party trick," Mo announced, getting out the communicator again. "I'm glad you don't do it often."
Yeah, I made a point not to after Paint was really worried one time, and some people can crack their necks really loud. I would have done that if I could, but it might have been too much of an emergency. Mur gazed at me in mild horror, then had to blink and refocus when the captain answered the phone.
"Hello? Yes, never mind. We're on the way."
I got ready to pull the sled again, snapping one last finger joint very quietly.